Have you ever wondered why you're trying to manifest but nothing's happening? You're trying to get that partner back, you're trying to make that money, you're trying to just manifest anything, but none of it works. Well, it's not unusual. I'm firstly, to introduce myself, I'm Marcus from Manifesting Minds. I wanted to create this channel to give a chance for beginners to learn more about manifesting. There's a lot out there, but actually I think it can never be too much, because different thoughts, different opinions, different learnings can help trigger certain things in your mind to give you that aha moment to really understand what is it that's going to drive your manifestation. Now, I've read books from Neville Goddard, I've read Reality Transurfing, I've gone through a whole host of other books. And yes, there's differences. And that could be the reason why your manifestation isn't working. But there are some common themes that I think we can tackle together to really help guide your manifesting. Now, look, I'm still a beginner. I by no means are an expert, and I think manifesting comes in waves. You're either really good at it, everything's flowing, or sometimes it just feels like, actually, does this work? Well, I can tell you that it does work. To varying degrees of success, I can say, I've manifested things like the ladder experiment, and I recommend you going and Googling that. It's a Neville Goddard technique. I've also manifested a lot of money. What I would say is that I think the common mistake is to think that when you manifest, it's going to come out from the sky. Your ideal partner is going to ring you on the doorbell and just be there the day after you try and manifest, or a briefcase full of money is just going to appear. What I think a lot of people realize is that the manifestation comes real via a sequence of events over the course of a certain few months, years, that actually when it arrives, it feels natural. So rather than winning the lottery and getting £1,000 the next day, which can happen, but I've never done it, so I can't give any insight. But what I have done is realize that it can take time, but also it feels very natural. And seeing something come to life after you've been manifesting will be kind of a feeling like, oh, well, yeah, actually it did come true. And I've just realized I was trying to manifest that a few years ago, or months ago even. So to give you an example, just very randomly, over 6 months ago, I just kind of practiced thinking that I want to see a tennis ball. And actually I thought, that's too easy. I want to see a tennis ball, a dog running up to me and giving me that tennis ball in hand. So using the lullaby method that Neville Goddard teaches, which is essentially to relax, think about the feeling of that manifestation. So in this instance, feeling the tennis ball, patting the dog, but more importantly, and we'll go on to this in a minute, the feeling of what it would feel like with the dog coming up to you and you touching that tennis ball. And I did that for a few days, fell asleep with that kind of scenario or scene in mind, and I forgot about it up until about 2 days ago, where I started to see tennis balls. The bridge of incidents meant that I was over in Spain and I was playing tennis, and I was realizing when I picked up the tennis ball that actually, something that I manifested a few months ago. And the bridge of incidents to get me to where I was in Spain was completely random, so don't worry about the how. And then I was seeing it again in a gym and just saw a tennis ball on the floor, so I could see that things were starting to happen, signs that what I was manifesting was going to come true. And then very randomly 2 days ago, I was in my friend's house and his dog ran up to me with a tennis ball in hand. Now again, the bridge of incidents, which meant I was in that house, was bizarre. There would have been really no reason 3 months ago why I would have ever stepped foot in that house. But the scenario was that got me to that situation where that manifestation happened. And you could do that, manifesting a tennis ball is the same as manifesting money. It's the importance you put on it. You just have to know that in imagination, that is where reality is. Not this 3D world, but in your imagination is where that happens. Now, there's lots of topics we can cover, but the things I want to talk about today is the common themes from all these learnings and lessons that I realized that we could take and learn. So the first one is feeling is the secret, and Neville talks about this a lot, is when you're imagining the scene or the wish fulfilled, you can't just imagine the objects, you have to imagine the feeling of it happening. So what would it feel like if you were to manifest a tennis ball or manifest a lot of money? And that's slightly different. Manifesting tennis ball, you're not going to be overjoyed by seeing a tennis ball, but what you might feel is kind of like that's cool. I've just, picked up a tennis ball that I had in my imagination 3 or 6 months ago. For the money, it could be a big feeling of just relief or excitement, but just that feeling is very, very important. And Neville doesn't just talk about that. In reality transurfing, it's a very important part, is imagining the slide, not just like a scene in a movie, but if you were in that movie, what was that emotion be? And there's many other books that talk about it. And I think that really is the secret to manifesting. A lot of people talk about affirmations, such as, I'm the luckiest person in the world. You can say that a million times, but if you don't have the feeling of actually you are the luckiest person in the world, then it won't come true. So you really have to remember the feeling. And I know it's hard, especially in days where things aren't working out and things are really stressful, but you have to remember the feeling. And that brings me nicely on to the second part, which is flipping a negative into a positive, or as Neville also says, brazen impotence. When things that you're trying to manifest aren't working, or reality is taking you a completely different path, that is the complete opposite of what you were trying to manifest, you have to remember that you don't know the how. You just know that you have in imagination what you want to manifest, but you don't have that in the 3D. That's fine. Don't have to worry about that. The how and how that happens is completely not up to you. You can just let and trust that the course of events will get you there. So, for example, if you wanted to be, get a job, and you got a dream career, and you just keep getting rejected and rejected and rejected in reality, in the 3D, you could be thinking, well, this is just a waste of time. It's not working. But you have to flip that into a positive. The things you don't know is that job could have been the worst job for you, or it could have been a disaster, or it could have taken you away from where you are currently. You just have to trust that it wasn't the right path for you, but the dream job is out there. The bridge of incidents will get you there. And if something looks like a negative and feels like a negative, do all you can to flip it into a positive. That job would have been a disaster, or, I'm one step closer to that dream job. That's really important. And that's a common theme in all the teachings and learnings I've read, especially in Reality Transurfing and Neville Goddard's teaching. And I think that's really the two things. The secret to manifesting is feeling is the secret, and almost be stubborn with it. Know that you have experienced what you want to manifest in imagination, and that's all that matters. You don't have to worry about the 3D, because if you stick to the plan, you have faith, and you keep that feeling in mind, then it has to happen. And let me tell you that the bridges of incidents which have got me, hundreds of thousands of pounds in the past, you wouldn't believe. And there's so many steps you have to take that you would realize that you just got to trust it. You just have to have faith that you will get what you want. You just have to have patience. And I think, especially as beginners, like myself, especially when I started, you're constantly thinking, God, when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? What can I do? What techniques? And I think that comes from a lack. And I really understand why someone would get stressed by that and want to think about, what could they do to manifest? And really, the only thing you can do is have faith. Have faith to know that it will happen. It may not be now, but it will happen. And we'll talk about some differences in a later video, but I just wanted to spend a quick 10 minutes to introduce myself, go through the common themes that really are the secrets to manifesting, and talk about what we could do in the future videos. So please like, subscribe, comment. Please tell me what you'd like to hear, and we can go through it. We can go through it together. I can talk about my experiences with it, my failures, my successes, and hopefully just another voice in this space to really guide you and to your success.